What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Survivor Now podcast. My name is Randy. Today, I am joined by my wonderful... See, I always go the wrong way. I forgot it's mirrored. I am joined by my wonderful co-analyst, Will, the man who has been with me forever now. Who are you waving to? Our audience? Hello.
To you, Randy. Isn't that what it looks like?
I see what you're doing now. Yes, I got it.
Yeah.
Hey. We're having too much fun.
Yeah.
We are here to talk episode 10 of Survivor Game Changers. Yes, we are getting to the key part of the game, the tail end of our Survivor Game Changers coverage. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you're listening to this on Spotify, which I need to put this one on Spotify. I forgot the last 5 weeks to actually put them on Spotify. But if you're listening to this on Spotify, make sure to leave us a rating. We greatly appreciate it. We just had a Patreon exclusive video. We had our way too early preseason coverage for Survivor 47, which was kind of like the official kickoff. I don't want to say it's the official kickoff of our coverage, because I would say that's probably like the draft and the cast assessment. That's like the kickoff of the season. But it was a fun little mini thing that I did with Matthew. You can go check that out on our Patreon. You have to be a legend tier member. So yeah, go check out all of that. The link to our Patreon is in the bio down below. The description. Sorry, excuse me. Get my terminology right. We already had that last week where I kept using the wrong words. And Will, we are very unfortunately down a member this week.
Yeah, Cara, man, she just keeps going on vacation. She's like, sayonara. Honestly, I think this is a ploy. I think this is a cover-up. I think right now, Cara is currently at Fiji right now and competing on Survivor 48. I don't know if they're filming right now. I don't know much about Survivor. Actually, that leads me to a question. Has the cast
48 is finished filming.
Wait. 49. No, she's on Survivor 50 right now, actually. If you think about it. Has the cast been formally revealed? I have been very busy outside of Survivor, so I haven't really been up to date with anything. I haven't.
Well, I don't know why I'm shaking my head. Yes, the cast has not been officially revealed, and I said that the other day. Yeah, and Matthew said the same thing. It's like, I thought it has been revealed, and I was talking to Abraham, and Abraham said, I thought the cast has been revealed. I said,
I was there for
the cast has not been revealed officially by CBS. Like, everybody knows who is on the cast, but it hasn't been revealed yet.
I just saw on my Twitter, it was like a notification from someone saying, look, Mom, I'm on Survivor. Then Survivor 47. So I just thought the cast got revealed day of the episode, or I don't know.
Tegwith had she posted a TikTok on Monday where she was like, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I have a feeling that the cast is going to be announced Wednesday. And today is Wednesday, and the cast still hasn't been announced. It is August 21st, and Survivor 47 begins September 18th.
Yep.
Which, I was looking for our Game Changers coverage. I was looking into this. We have to double down on a week because we skipped a week. And right now, it has our finale episode. I think there's 14 episodes in the season, counting the reunion, if you count the reunion. So maybe we just double down on the reunion and the finale, obviously.
No, there's 13 episodes because episode 11 is a double.
Oh, episode 11's a double?
Yep. Okay, I'm looking at the wiki. I keep the wiki up.
13 total episodes, which means we should be able to end our coverage of Survivor Game Changers the week before. Well, I think we still need to double up because we should probably end it 2 weeks before. So then the week before we can do the draft and cast assessment. And
I got you. We'll talk about this all later. Randy, what'd you think about the episode?
Let's get on to the important stuff. No, this is just a live meeting at this point for Survivor.
Honestly, we can just bring on everyone else.
Wait, hold on. We do have one more thing to talk about before we actually get into the episode.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you do. You almost forgot it. So, Cara promised last week. Someone asked at the end of the episode. Sorry that I forgot who officially asked, but someone asked for our Survivor hot takes, which Will and I answered, and Cara said, go back to me. because she didn't really have a good one off the top of her head. And she said, guys, I promise next week I will give you my hot takes. But then after we went off the air, Cara was like, I forgot I'm not going to be here next week because I'm going to be out of the state. So she sent in a video for everyone. Will, have you watched the video or no?
I've seen the first 20 seconds.
That's same with me. I kind of started watching it and I said, okay, let me keep it as a surprise. So
yeah,
this is for all of us. And then we will react to her hot take before we get into today's episode of Game Changers. Here's Cara's hot take.
So like I said last week, I would come back this week and give my Survivor hot take. And since I can't be on the episode this week, I am sending in a video. So here is my Survivor hot takes. First, I think idols should just be idols. I forget all the advantage things, all the different hoops they have to jump through to get the idol. I think if you find an idol, it should just be an idol. Advantages could be separate, but if you find it, I think you should just have it. I don't think you should have to go through 10 different steps. Another one is, I want the family visits back. Fly the family out to Fiji. I love those episodes. Bring the families back. And the last thing is, I like the new era. I like this 40s era. I think the seasons have been really good so far. So, yep, those are my Survivor hot takes. Have a great episode tonight.
Thank you, Cara. We will have a good episode. Will and I always have a good time.
Oh yeah.
So, Will, let's get into these hot takes really, really quickly because obviously we're here to talk about Survivor Game Changers, and we'll talk about one of our hot takes, which actually connects to this episode in particular. But her first hot take was, if you find an idol, don't jump through hoops. You don't have to collect beads. You don't have to melt a candle. Just you get the idol. And I actually agree with Cara. I liked it more when it was just, ooh, I found an idol, than what it is now of like, oh my gosh, we have to jump through a million hoops to get this thing.
I agree to an extent. I think the problem is that as Survivor went on, they kept adding more and more idols to the season. And so I feel like that's kind of the natural balance of, if you're going to include more idols, then make them harder to find. If they just did one idol per base camp and then one at the merge, make 3 idols total, 4 idols total, I think that'd be a lot more compelling. But I feel like every episode of like the new era, there's always something hidden, something new. I also just think too, it's like, because of how the structure is of the pre-merge, we kind of see the same idol hunt 3 different times, and I think that is a little annoying. I think if they wanted to do it, they can split it up to where, like, pre-merge, the idol is just an idol. You know, you find a little bag under a rock, that's the idol, and then at merge, stakes are a lot higher. There's a lot more people there, so make people jump through more hoops. Maybe have 5 different idol clues leading to the same treasure, so everyone finds them. But there's only one idol at play instead of like 12. You know,
yeah, I'm more of a fan of how you started that conversation of like only having 3, or if you have 3 tribes, having 3 total and then 1 at the merge. Like, I think there shouldn't be more than the amount of tribes on a season. Like, I've always been like, dial back on the advantages, but I'm okay with them sprinkling in a weird idol here and there. But I think you got to call it like something else other than just. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no. I mean, I love the birdcage side plot from Survivor 44. I thought that was brilliant the way it was executed. I mean, obviously the payoff wasn't like the most extreme thing, but it led to like the storyline of Jamie having a fake idol for the entire season, believing it was real, and how the edit just kind of dunked on her. Like, I'm not opposed to change, especially when, you know, seasons 13 or 11, 12 through, you know, 40 were the exact same. It's just, I feel like now that we're getting the exact same thing for the last 7 seasons, we want more change and we want it to go back to how it was, until it does that for a while, and then we'll want change again. Basically, you can't please Survivor fans.
You cannot. And her final hot take was the fact that she's enjoyed the new era. I've enjoyed the new era from 44 to 46, minus those 4 episodes in 46. Everything else has been great. It's been fine.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it has its problems, but I feel like each season has improved on the last. I even enjoyed 41 more than a lot of people. I know that's a crazy take to say when our co-host
is insane.
Abraham, but like, I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with the season itself or with the cast or like with any of the moves. I thought a lot of the characters were really fun. I thought Brad is still a really great pre-merger who got
Solid cast members.
You know, I mean, it wasn't the most explosive of casts. It's just hard to follow season 40 because Survivor was different. I think if we go back now and rewatch it under the lens of knowing who's winning, knowing that Erica's winning, knowing that Xander never really had a chance, and kind of knowing how the season ended, I think people would appreciate the season a lot more. That said, it's still the weakest season. Cara also had the hot take, which I don't really think is a hot take, of wanting the family visits back.
Well, that's what connects us.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm trying to pull up the cast right now, which I usually do beforehand. So that's bad on me. But that is something that connects with the episode that we just saw today, Will, is family visits. Like that was a big part. Now we're finally to 12 minutes into the episode or whatever. We're finally to like the episode itself. But family visits we got that this episode, and it was a big part of the episode. What did you think, saying it? Because I don't know if I've reached this age now, but I've started to get emotional at the family visits. Like I was actually tearing up, and I was actually like crying. I'll tell you the moment that got me the most. But what do you think of the family visits this time around?
I thought it was just a classic family visit. It was interesting because we actually get a Big Brother player, a part of this family visit.
A future. That's what I was saying.
Big Brother player.
Yeah.
With Jared, which is absolutely insane. Jared Fields, on our television screen as a young 18-year-old chap. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of family visits. I understand their point in Survivor. I feel like it's important to humanize the cast. I'm not at that point where I get emotional from the family visits themselves. Maybe because I'm still living at home, and so that's all I see are family. So I don't have that effect yet. Wait until I move out, and then I see, until I miss my family and see how other people miss their families, whatever. Not to say I don't get emotional from Survivor, but that's a whole other side tangent. It's a very solid family visit, a part of a very solid episode. I feel like I know we're not getting to that point yet. I just think overall this episode has been very, very solid.
Run of the mill. We talked about that a little bit before going on air. Like, I didn't take notes. I watched it super early this morning because I had such a busy day, and I usually watch it on Wednesday. Yeah, Will beat me out with the notes this week. But I just thought it was a very basic Survivor episode, which is fine. We've talked about this before. Oh, yeah. It is fine to have a basic Survivor episode. The entire season just can't be basic Survivor episodes. Not saying it has been, but it was just a run-of-the-mill episode. But in terms of the family visits, I was tearing up on Andrea's. I was tearing up on Andrea's because of the story from her mom talking about how she lost her sister. And it just put me in perspective of if I lost my brother and stuff. So I think that's why I got emotional with that one. I don't know why Sarah's made me emotional. Sarah seeing her husband, maybe because we don't see Sarah like that often. It was also the first, like she was already on the ground crying before her husband even came out. And then the one that fully, I was already tearing up, already had some tears, but the one that fully broke me, and I don't know why, was Monica returning for Brad. And I think what it was Brad ran to her, and I don't know. That was just such a gentlemanly thing to do. Is he didn't even wait for her to get over there. And Brad to me is this tough guy, who is big, tough guy who you can't get under his skin. And just to see him kind of break down like that to me, I think is something that makes me super emotional. Is I'm a hopeless romantic at the end of the day, and seeing that's true love to me. Seeing them together, it's damn, they were meant for each other. Not to get super cheesy, I know I am, but
Randy,
stop it, Will. Stop
You'll find someone.
Stop it, Will.
No, I will say I hate to cut you off, Randy, but
No, please cut me off. I would go on all day.
you will go on about, Brad Culpepper and how you love Brad Culpepper. I understand you're the biggest Brad Culpepper fan, but I think that this episode or this part really exemplifies how I think Survivor can edit characters really, really well, because you touched on how we don't see Brad Culpepper emotional. We don't see Sarah Lucina emotional. They're very level-headed players, especially Sarah Lucina, and we don't see them cry or show any emotion. And so by doing this, I think this is kind of like not sob stories. Like, I mean, we include Andrea's whole story, but that's a storyline done correctly. I feel something that people really criticize New Era for is how everyone has their own story and how it's just kind of forced into the season. It's not natural. Yes. The family visit, it makes the season more compelling. It gives us a reason to really root for the characters, and it makes them a lot more three-dimensional than they were before. Because I'm not the biggest Sarah Lucina fan because I like more personable characters, and so this kind of episode puts her in a new perspective for me, right? Even though I've seen the season before and 40.
Well, it refreshes it in your mind.
It refreshes it, because now I'm reminded that Sarah Lucina, she's not just a really good strategist who got robbed from Cagayan, but that she's a person too, which is weird to say because obviously I'm not forgetting that everyone's a person. I'm not assuming everyone's a robot, but you understand what I'm saying and coming from.
Yes. Yeah. No, I definitely understand what you're saying. And it sheds a new light on people. Like you kind of see people in a different light, except for Michaela. We'll get to Michaela
I made a note about Michaela, actually, that I can't wait to share with you.
All right. Well, before we get to Michaela, let's talk about the actual challenge itself. So this is an interesting one. Usually with family members, we've seen challenges where you compete with your family member. We've seen challenges where they're on the side cheering you on. This one was run in trios. So they split the 9 castaways up into 3 teams of 3. And then at the end of it was kind of dominated by the trio of Culpepper, help me out here, Aubrey and Andrea.
Yeah, Andrea.
I mean, they just kind of ran away with it. It honestly wasn't close. So the 3 of them get to go on this reward with their family members. Did you write down what the reward was again? It was like a buffet of food.
It was a barbecue with family visits, and I also wrote down who they picked to, because that's also the important part when it comes to a family visit. Typically you win, and you got to make some tough choices.
Would you want to be in that position, Will?
No.
Like, on one hand, you're guaranteed to hang out with your loved one.
Depends. With this, too, it's like you can kind of just throw it off onto someone else. You notice how everyone kept talking to Brad Culpepper for whatever reason? Like, he was the voice of reason there.
Wait, I am curious, before we get into the choices, who do you think, you go on Survivor, who would your loved one be?
My loved one, I think it'd be my older brother, because he talked to me one day. He was like, we should apply on Survivor together. And I'm like, yeah, if there's ever a blood versus water, we're down. He's also just a goofball. If not him, I'd pick my mom, because my mom got me into reality TV, specifically Big Brother, but that's neither here nor there. Either that or my little brother, because he just looks like me. Like with long hair. And
man, you have options. Mine is my mom. It would be, I'm a big time mother's boy, and she would not let, even if I had a fiance, like by the time I get on Survivor, if I had like a girlfriend, that's why I said if I had a girlfriend, a fiance, a wife, any of that, I promise you it would still be my mom, because she would not let it be anyone else.
Your mom's a day one. Your wife is day.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, if Jeff asked me the question, because who did he ask? He asked
Troy who he wanted to see.
Yeah, he asked Troy's, and he's like, who are you hoping for? Who do you think it is? Hopefully I would think of this in the moment. I would be like, I think it's my fiance or whatever, but it could be my mom. That's how I would phrase it, so nobody gets pissed off.
I would be like, I want to talk to my aunt. Was she there for me ever? Nope. But I still want her on.
Just a random person. I hope it's that guy on the side of the street that keeps waving at me every morning when I.
Yeah, my one coworker who was there for like 3 months and then quit. Shout out to you, dog.
The most outlandish people.
Yeah.
But they get to choose 2 people here. I will say, I'm not a fan. Here comes negative Randy.
Oh yeah.
I'm not a fan of team family challenges. I'm much more of a fan of you win, you get your family member, and then you can make you can choose 3 to 4 people. I don't like the team aspect because I like it more when it's up to you. You don't have to rely on anybody else. If you want to see your family member, it's up to you. And yes, we're going to get to Michaela and how she throws another fit. But I understand her frustration a little because sorry, this might sound rude, but I would be shitty if I really want to spend the day with my mom and I look behind me and I have the 2 weakest people on the tribe. I would be pretty pissed.
Oh, I same here. Yeah, so I don't think Michaela really threw that much of a fit.
Bro, she literally she was kicking Stan, and then she kicked the box. Her mom even had to be like, Michaela, calm down. I'm sorry, she's not a good Survivor player. She's just not.
All right.
Got a hot head.
Yeah, no, I do think an interesting idea if they ever bring the family visit back is instead of making it like one person wins, like let's say it's final 8, make the top 3 the win. It's an individual challenge.
Oh, I like this.
Top 3, they get to see their family. The person who gets first, they get to pick one extra person to see their loved one. That way, there's a better strategy there because you don't really want to be first. You just want to be second or third because you don't want to piss everyone off. You can still have that pool, like that party of a lot of people seeing their loved ones. I think it's also just more balanced too, because if one guy dominates all the challenges, he might win the family reward, and it kind of lets an underdog win. I think that's a possible solution to a problem that doesn't exist.
That. Yeah.
But CBS, if you want to steal that idea, make sure you give us some royalties. So now,
send it to our PO box.
Oh yeah, Randy's new home.
Yeah. I'm not giving out my address yet. No. Will, I loved how you turned the subject away from Michaela. You're like, we're not going down this road.
You want to know the thing I wrote down when I was watching this episode?
Yeah, I'm ready for this because I did think of you when I started making my mental notes of here we go again.
So Michaela, so the challenge ends. We see Michaela, she's kicking stuff, and her mom's like, Michaela, calm down. The only time we've heard anyone talk about Michaela and her attitude in the merge was here. Except for maybe people being like, oh, Michaela's going to be upset if she finds out she's the vote or whatever. This is the first time in a long time anyone's ever commented on Michaela and her attitude. And even then she's like, oh, Michaela will get over it. She's not,
it's Michaela.
It's Michaela. She's like, no, they said she's very strategic. She has a strategic mind. She'll get over it. What do you say about that? That's not that bad of a comment for someone who apparently is a hothead and freaks out every episode.
I mean, you got me there. Her fellow castaways are being nice and being like, she's a very strategic mind. My Michaela opinions need to be put a little bit on the back burner until I watch her first season again.
Yeah.
Because from my experience this season, I'm just not a big Michaela person in terms of Survivor. If I ever met her in real life, I'd be like, oh my gosh, hello. I'm, loved watching you play. But I just don't think she's a good Survivor player. She's not one of my favorites. I'll say that.
Oh yeah, that's fair. Everyone's entitled to that.
Big Show Gano added right here. Any more hot takes from the podcast host? Yeah, I'll give you a hot take. I'd rather watch Banu out there than.
That's pretty rough. Is that a real hot take from you, Randy, or is that you just trying to make a point? Point received,
no,
bro.
It's me making a point.
Just making sure.
So they get 2 choices of who to take on the reward. Obviously, strategically, this is a big decision. and they go with who do they go with first? Help me
They
out.
go
here.
with
You took the
Suri
note.
first.
Which makes sense. Her son just graduated high school. You have a soft spot for the mom and son. And then they end up going with Sarah when they got one more selection. Will, it's time to discuss good selections, bad selections. What did we think here? Like, I think I was shocked. I'm trying to think of who they didn't pick.
They did not pick
Oh, I got it right here. Sierra, Michaela,
Michaela.
Ty,
I get. Ty is
Troyzan.
weird. I kind of get. I'm surprised Culpepper didn't push for Ty, because Culpepper at the start of the episode and Sierra at the start of the episode, they're like, "Hey, we might not have Ty anymore."
Yeah,
the game flipped. The game changed. I feel like Ty would have been a great person to pick. Troyzan, I kind of get not picking him. He just seems like he could handle it. You know, Troyzan, he's just Troyzan. You know, he'd be appreciative, but I get that. I get not wanting Sierra because Culpepper and Sierra, they're kind of known as a big duo so far, and people are kind of clocking that.
I'll let you finish first.
Let me finish.
Yeah,
thank you.
That's what I just said.
I'm
agreeing. I wasn't going to let you.
I'm repeating what you said, dog. And so I feel like, I mean, I'm looking at it through the lens of Culpepper as well, because there's still Aubrey and Andrea. I never say her name right. I don't know why. Andrea.
I was never going to out you for it, but I have been thinking that for weeks.
Andrea. I think I know, and I don't know. It's weird. It's a song, actually. That's what it is. But yeah, no, I mean, it's good selections. I think picking Suri and Sarah, I think they're two of the biggest social butterflies so far in the game as well. And so I think they're so likable that no one can really blame anyone for picking the mom and then Sarah, because Sarah's just in good with everyone, and I don't think we are realizing how good she is in with people. Mm-hmm. And we saw it today with certain decisions that were made.
I'm on the flip side. Suri was a no-brainer. I knew Suri was going to be chosen, especially with how emotional she got with her son and him just graduating. Sarah over Sierra shocks me. I'm actually not shocked they didn't choose Ty, but I do agree with you that Ty probably would have been a smart person to take along. But Sierra kind of shocks me because especially when you're someone like Brad Culpepper, who could have made the decision, like you said, they kept turning to him and being like, what do you think? What do you think? Sierra has been the core to your alliance, and it obviously we know how the episode ends now, and maybe some people watching know how the episode ended, but this felt like a turning of Brad being like, look, we're on the bottom. It's every man for themselves now. I can't work with Sierra anymore. It kind of felt like that to me, of him throwing that away.
I get that, but I don't know. I don't see that. I think Brad is still relatively loyal to his core. And so I think it was more of the optics of Brad looking like he's dominating like the group and going against what the group as a collective would want, because I don't see any reason why Aubrey and Andrea. Oh my God, I don't know what's going on. Wanting Sierra there with them. And so I think Brad kind of understood the optics of it. I think that's what it is.
Well, I mean, who would you choose in that situation? Let's just switch out. You switch out for Brad. All right. So you're in the same position Brad's in. Like, first off, you get one choice. So who would you choose first? And you think it's the only person you get to choose because he said choose one person.
If I think Suri.
Yeah, I would choose Suri too.
After that, I would honestly just give it off to the other two.
I would have taken Ty.
I would have picked Ty if I had to make a choice. I would make it seem more like a group effort. Like, hey guys, what are we thinking? They're like, oh, whatever's good with me. What about Ty?
My thing with Ty is like, you could make an argument that the weakest thing about Ty's game is how loyal he is at times and not being able to make those cutthroat moves. And I would have looked at Ty as, if I bring this guy, he's going to the end with me. He will not turn on me whatsoever.
Oh yeah. No, I agree entirely. Entirely.
Oh my God! Stop!
My apologies. My apologies. Actually, I have another fun fact while Randy's making his grand exit.
Stop it.
On day 30, Andrea became the 7th returning player to reach their 100th day on Survivor.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Phil, bring more stats like that. What?
I didn't realize this until I look on the wiki, man.
Oh, you're reading the wiki right now?
I scroll through because it lets me see who voted who, and also like the reward challenge stuff, like the names of the challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Like
what was the name of that challenge?
Full Tilt Boogie.
Not the Full Tilt Boogie.
Oh, wait until you know about the immunity challenge.
Lord. Let's go ahead and get to the actual reward itself. Everybody's laughing, enjoying time with their family. We get a really interesting dynamic here between Monica, who has played the game before. Jeff brought that up. You know, Brad, you have the interesting perspective of having your loved one be someone who's played the game and has played a really good game as well. Brad's been playing this entire season as, what would Monica do? What would Monica do? Well, at this point, he gets to actually find out what Monica would do. And Big Shogunno, I mean, right on cue. Do we like when Monica tries to give Brad advice? Like, how impactful do we think this was at the moment? Because obviously Brad gave her the rundown of the Zeke situation, how he's kind of on the bottom, the entire game flipped. And she made the note that he cannot trust. Who was it again? You put down in your notes, didn't you?
I did not put down my notes.
Oh my gosh, I got to see it. Now I'm drawing a blank. Monica says that.
While you look it up, I have another fun fact for you guys.
Okay, go Go ahead.
Another fact. Monica Culpepper is the 3rd castaway to return as a loved one following playing the game.
Who are the other 2? Do you know?
Yes. It is Dale Wentworth and Val Collins. They both played on the same season and then returned as a loved one in the same season as well. Both returned as loved ones in Survivor Cambodia. Fun fact.
I love these fun facts. I can't remember. I just looked at the cast and I can't remember who it was. So if you're watching, let us know in the comments. But she basically says this person is going to flip. And Brad's kind of like, I know. And so, I mean, how crucial was this to Brad's game to get that advice from Monica, his wife, someone who's played a really good game in the past?
I think it's less impactful because Monica is she's hearing one side of one story, and there's not really much you can really go off there. It's kind of like John Cochran giving Debbie advice, right? Mm-hmm. Because John Cochran, he's played before.
That happened.
I know, isn't that weird? He's won before. But Cochran doesn't know the full extent of what's been happening on the island. He just knows what Debbie's telling him, you know? And I feel like obviously some people are better equipped to give advice, but I think having a third party in general is invaluable. So I think it's less that Monica playing before and playing a good game before is indicative. I just think it's having someone who's level-headed, who's third party, very neutral in the game, giving advice. It's just we know Monica's level-headed because we've seen her before. You know, but it's not the first time too we've seen this interaction. Like I remember distinctly Survivor Thailand, right, where Helen was talking to her husband about, you know, trusting Brian, and her husband's like, you can't trust Brian, you gotta cut Brian. She's like, nah, I hear you, but I can't.
We know what ends up happening with Brian.
We know what happens with Brian. So I think on one hand I understand why it can be unfair, but also I think of like Brad Culpepper's threat level increasing, you know, with, oh, this guy just got advice from a former player. What's going on? So I don't hate it. I think I just think it's a cool little callback.
You know? Yeah, it was fun seeing Monica back out there. I honestly thought the reward itself was kind of short. Like we didn't see much. Like, it wasn't like the family members went back to camp with them or anything like that. We kind of got back to strategy, and strategy is kind of all over the place. You have this new majority who's just discussing like who the biggest threat is. And then you have the minority who is like, we got to find an inn. We got to survive. We get an interesting conversation between Sierra and Sarah. And Sierra decides it's a smart idea to tell Sarah, someone that she trusts, about the legacy advantage. And oh my gosh, this comes into play at the end of the episode. I'm sure we're going to discuss it. Were you as shocked as I was? Because I don't remember Sarah and Sierra having this like super, super tight bond, but Sierra seems very set on, this is someone I can trust. I need to put this out there. I would have, if I was Sierra, I think it would have helped her out much more to tell nobody and maybe play it as soon as possible because you're on the bottom. And if you play it and nothing happens, whatever, people will forget about that. But if you play it and save yourself, that gets you another day in the game. So this was interesting to see her thought process of, I need to tell someone, I need to tell Sarah. I think this was a little panic setting in. Like, I got to do something because I could be the next one to go.
I think this is one of the worst moves ever in Survivor. I'm not going to
Oh, wow.
I think when we think of the worst moves, I think of JT giving Russell Hantz the idol. I think of, what else am I thinking? I'm thinking of Eric giving away immunity in Micronesia. Brandon doing the same. Okay, Eric was a little worse.
Did you mention James from China? James having two
idols and blundering, because she let slip that if she gets voted out, the idol would still be in play and it would get willed to another player.
And she said, I'm going to give it to you.
And she said, I will give it to you. That like, I understand wanting to share that you have an advantage. I think it didn't work. I don't think she should have told Sarah about it. I think that is a bad move in itself. But saying that is a terrible move. I would use it against her. I want to say, hey, I have this. If I catch wind that you voted me out, you will not get it. I will not reveal who I give it to, and it will be used against you. I think that, and not as direct per se, but I think saying something along those lines could have the same benefit with less of the downside. Because Sierra just told Sarah, hey, if you vote me out, it'll help you out even more. And at first, Sarah was like, oh, Sarah's my it girl. We're tight. I want her to stay. But when things go down, things go down. And things went down during the immunity challenge with someone winning who should not have won.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're ready to go into the immunity challenge.
We're about to. I just wanted to add on to that and say that adds a whole nother dynamic, the whole factor of telling someone, if I get voted out of the game, I'm going to give this to you.
Yeah.
Because that just had Sarah's ears perked up on a platter like, if you tell someone that, if I get voted out, you're going to get this advantage. That is like rolling out the red carpet. Honestly, at that point, you should just tell everybody, I'm going to give this to Sarah. I'm going home tonight. So, and
that would be so much more beneficial, I think. Honestly,
just tell everyone and say, I have a legacy advantage. It literally cannot save me in the game. Like, if you guys vote me out tonight, it can't do anything. Because make up some rule about it can't go into play until the final 5. Like, make up a lie like that and be like, I have this legacy advantage.
What legacy is.
What?
That's basically what it is. It's just not final 6.
Yeah, it's final 6. Yeah. Say that. Say, I can't use it tonight. You guys are obviously going to vote me out of the game. I'm giving it to this person. And name the person you want them to get out of this game. Say, like, I'm giving this to Brad. If that's because we saw Sierra was trying to kind of get the vote to go Brad's way instead, which we'll talk about with the immunity challenge. I did want to bring up this comment from Big Show Ganell. James' 2 idol move is less bad than people act like it is. There were still 2 more rounds the idol could be used. If James truly felt comfortable, it makes sense to have saved it. I don't think he should have felt comfortable. That's my thing. And if you have 2 idols, I'm on the side of play one as soon as possible. As soon as you get a whiff that it could be you. And the way what I saw of how they were talking to James and stuff, I think he should have known that he was going to be a big target. But that's my opinion.
That's neither here nor there. I don't think it's the worst move of all time. I think it's high up there. I do think Eric giving up immunity is the worst move.
The worst. I agree.
Because I think it comes from a place of manipulation with Eric, where it's like he saw it as the only move where he can get respect from the jury. But I still think there's too many days left to try to curry favor with the jurors and other people left in the game. A lot of other moves, I can.
What was who had the stick that season? Was his name James?
No, it was Jason.
Jason, I got
Jason
wrong. Jason. Too many Survivor players. Jason, that was also a pretty bad move.
Oh yeah, well he was playing against the Boston Red Sox,
and didn't he give up immunity or something as well? He didn't give it up like Eric did, but I remember watching his the episode he went home in and just thinking, oh my god, the guys this season are stupid.
He threw the challenge based off of a deal.
Yeah, yes, it was the deal. It was like if I give up, like, dude. Maybe I need to rewatch the episode. It's a bad move, but there are worse moves. Sierra telling Sarah about the legacy advantage is debatably worse. Yeah, and that's what Will said. Will, go ahead and take us through this immunity challenge. Tell us what happened, what the castaways had to do. Walk us through it. Let's go ahead and get to this.
So the challenge name is Can't Buoy Me Love. It is a challenge that we have not seen before. I think it's a brand new challenge here.
It was the first time in this season.
First time, but it became a recurring challenge where basically the contestants have a little buoy and they have the two sticks and they have to keep it in place. If you drop it, you're out. It's very classic. It's a very simple endurance challenge. And we see immediately everyone wobbling. I forget the exact order in which people go and fall, but it ends with the Brad Culpepper victory.
I do remember. I don't think I can say the exact order, but I thought it was interesting. Most of the women fell first. Troy Zane was the first guy, but I know here I can have it here. Aubrey dropped early. Sari dropped early. I'm trying to see who else. Sarah dropped. Sarah was the second. I think Aubrey might have been the first. Sierra dropped early. Andrea, I believe. Wait, did Andrea drop? Who did it come down to? It came down to Brad and
Ty.
Ty, that's right. Brad and Ty. And the one person that I think was going to end up being the vote, Brad.
Yep.
Wins immunity here.
Yeah. And actually, fun fact, Brad, the way he was holding the buoy, it was closer to his chest, I believe, which made it a lot easier to win the challenge. Shout out to Survivor YouTubers for letting me know that bit of information. And that's a strategy repeated in David versus Goliath. Fun fact by Dan. That's neither here nor there. But yeah, no, it is one of those cases where the absolute worst case scenario wins the challenge. It wasn't like everyone was going to vote for Brad and then all the plans got swapped. But going into this challenge, there's talks about voting for Andrea. I'm not repeating myself that time. And
you did pretty good. You did better.
I did. I'm doing better.
Leaning in the right direction.
Thank you. It was between her and Brad. And so now it's like, Brad's safe. What are we going to do? Because no one wants to vote out Andrea yet, when there's still the looming threat of the Sierra versus Brad Culpepper duo. And that's when Sierra's legacy blunder came into effect, because Sarah Lucina then realized like Ty and Michaela were in the middle and there's two sides, and how Brad and Sierra need to get split up. And so what do we see? We see Sarah telling Michaela all about the legacy advantage, right? And it's crazy seeing Michaela, who is a very hot-headed player, according to Randy. She kind of took it level-headed. She was kind of understanding where Sarah's coming from. So, like, Randy, do you think Michaela has a mind for strategy on Survivor? Do you think she's able to lock in when it matters?
I think you're gonna love hearing me say this because I love to hate on Michaela.
Yeah.
I think Michaela is a competent Survivor player, and I think she's very intelligent in like normal society. I think what holds her back is her sass and her anger. Like, I don't know how she is nowadays. I don't know if she's been on she's been on the challenge, hasn't she?
Yeah, I think she's like one of those Survivor alumni that just play like every other season. Like, I keep seeing stuff about her. I could be wrong.
I don't watch like any other reality show, so I haven't seen the challenge. I haven't watched her on the challenge. I'm just I'm one of those weird reality fans. I watch Survivor, and then I do other stuff. I'm big in the Game of Thrones. I watch sports. Like, that's my reality TV. But I don't know how she is nowadays. Maybe she's gotten better with that with age, over the years. But if she could just control that, I do think she'd be a good Survivor player. I still don't think she'd be like great legend status, anything like that. I think she'd be a run-of-the-mill Survivor player. But she lets every little thing get under her skin. Like, everything.
Yeah.
And I'm not even really mad about the family visit, because we saw another person in 45 throw a fit, which was Jake, ended up breaking the challenge. I could see myself doing that. I have those little bits of rage where just out of nowhere I throw something or I kick something. So I don't even blame her for it. It's the fact that we've seen it all season. Like, every little thing. She's very competitive. She hates losing, and she was losing very early on. And I get that it's also got to be frustrating from her point of view that no one has worked with her all season. She's had no path, and she figured that out pretty early on, to the point where she said during, tribal councils, she has said, look, they don't want me here. No one's working with me. So be it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I will say she's played the challenge twice. They had a short run her first season, and then made it further in her second season. So shout out to Michaela. Yeah, of course. Her most recent outing, she did the best on.
How good did she do?
I will tell you after, just in case, because it's the newest season of the challenge, I believe, or the second newest.
Okay.
So I don't want to spoil it. I will after. But going back though to Sarah Lucina, how do you think about her immediately ratting out Sierra? Because from her point of view, Michaela and Ty, they were kind of in the middle. But if I was Sarah, I'd still be worried that Ty could have been closer to Brad, because I know Brad tried voting Ty out, but what else does Ty really have going for him?
Ty's also not the type of player. He's literally I don't think he would have ever turned on Caleb. And
no,
wrong. Did I say the right season there?
Yeah.
Sorry, my nose.
He was pretty loyal to Scott Pollard and Kyle Jason for a while.
Good Scott Pollard shout out. I just have to say it now. I literally served him the other day at Top Golf, and oh my god, my nose is bothering me.
Do you know who I served at Outback?
Who?
Sandra.
The Jack Powell. You served
Actually,
Sandra?
I've never served Jack Powell. He did walk into my Outback once.
You served Sandra?
No, I have not. Imagine.
I was like, why is she up there? But I met Scott Pollard, by the way, incredible guy. I know the edit painted him on his season as like him and Jason were like these villains, and incredible guy. Super incredible dude. Let's see. Oh, just that. Scott Pollard's title should have been two-time NBA champion since the Kings were robbed against the... Oh, we got a basketball fan up in here. No, I think it was the right decision from Sarah. depending on what side of the spectrum you are on in terms of her telling Sierra, because I do see a world where she could have kept that to herself, and then Sierra is going to be loyal to you. Like loyal, like that is, you want people like that. But at the same time, to get someone like Ty, Michaela on your side, I do think it's the right decision. But on the topic of Ty, I don't see Ty flipping on anyone unless you do something like, say, like a Varner situation. If him and Varner were working together, I don't see him ever going with Varner again after what he did. But in terms of like Brad and Sierra voting for Ty at the last tribal council, I don't think Ty's going to remember that. I really don't. Yeah. I don't want to make it sound like Ty's stupid. I'm just saying, like, Ty's a very down-to-earth, humble, like, live and forgive, like, type of guy. He even said during the family visit, I got to where I wanted to. I got you out here on the island. That's what mattered to me.
So Ty threw in the towel. Take notes, stock watch fans. Sell your Ty stock. You know, I mean, I'm looking at the players remaining. It's like, is Ty really close with like Michaela or Sari or Aubrey? It's like, I feel like, again, it's just easier for Ty to forgive and forget, right? Yeah. Michaela was a better pool for Sierra, or not Sierra, for Sarah to talk to, and I'm glad that Sarah went to Michaela first. And I think that's kind of, I think that's why Sierra made the worst move of the season by telling Sarah about the whole legacy advantage, just because it's like, it was so unnecessary to reveal that if she got voted out, she could will it to Sarah. If she just said it's an idol, like, I have an idol and I'm willing to use it for you, you know, I feel like that would still be a much better move. Even if Sarah couldn't use it, or if Sarah couldn't use it until the final 6, you know. But what do you think? Do you think looking back it's the worst move, or is it still kind of like, are you still mixed?
I don't think it's the worst move, like you guys have been saying. Like, I think it's not a great move for Sierra, but I do see how this could have ended up working out for her at the end of the day. But it didn't work out for her, and this leads to the elimination of Sierra. And I gotta be honest, I didn't pay attention to anything from Tribal Council. Did I miss anything?
No, I mean, because going back to what we said earlier, this episode was just very straightforward. I think, and I'm kind of glad, because family visits, it takes up a large part of every episode, or of every every season. It's like the episode is the family reward. So I'm glad it wasn't like a big strategically sound episode. It was just a classic Survivor blindside where most of the numbers were there. The alliances have been formed. People in the middle, they chose a side. And that's really what it came down to.
What did we think of Sierra this season? Because I thought, like, early on, she was playing a great game. When she was in the majority with Brad, I thought they were like the power duo this season. And I think, obviously, it was Sarah flipping that kind of ruined their game at the end of the day. But I think she played really well. And, well, now she's known as what? Sierra England?
Yep.
Yeah.
If you're on Survivor socials a lot, not Survivor social, like Survivor Reddit and Twitter, you'll know her as the fan favorite game changer, Sierra Dawn Thomas Anglum, or whatever the acronym is. There's like a big long
kid not too long ago, didn't they?
What's that?
I think they just had a kid not too long ago.
Oh my God! Congratulations. Yep, Vander Joseph Anglum, August 15th, 2022. Never mind, that was 2 years ago.
A 2-year-old kid, so a little while ago.
A little bit.
But I think she played a great game. This is just the way we said this is a run-of-the-mill season. It's a run-of-the-mill blindside at the end of the day, pretty much, outside of the legacy advantage stuff. It was someone who was in control, had one person flip. That's how fast. That's why we love Survivor. That's how fast this stuff can change. Is she had total control of the game. One person flips, and it just destroyed her game, because I think we could see the writing on the wall the last couple of weeks that her time was coming to an end.
Now, do you see her on Survivor 50 at all?
No.
Okay.
No.
I can see her.
We were gonna wait till the end of the season to answer this. So I mean, I think we should still wait. But if we're talking just Sierra, I don't even think she's on the list of getting a call. Is she
think
memorable enough to get the call?
no. I do think though, if CBS if they had a list, right, of every Survivor player and just a yes or no to being considered, I do see her being a yes, but not going any further in casting. If that makes sense.
Yeah. You're saying just the bare bones of the list.
Like bare bones, because there's some players.
Let's write yes. Let's write yes or no, and then we'll go from there. And then we'll take the yeses, and then we'll whittle them down to like you don't.
And then
see
we'll ask
her,
again. Just the yes or no's. Let's remove all the filth that Survivor had before, like Ben Browning.
I didn't hear you.
Ben Browning. Ben Browning, one of the worst Survivor U.S. contestants, and he does not get the hatred. Never mind.
I gotta look this up.
Ben Browning is one of my least favorite contestants because I don't think
That's why I don't know who he is, because I've not seen Samoa yet.
you've never seen Samoa.
No, I still have. I started. For those of you who don't know, yes, I'm a huge Survivor fan, but I had never seen the original seasons because I didn't start watching Survivor live.
That's right.
And I just haven't done what everyone does and then goes through and watches all of them, back to back, and watches all of them in like 2 weeks or whatever. I haven't done that. I get burnt out very quickly. I'm not someone who, oh my God, what's the phrase? Binges. I'm not a binge watcher. I'm not. I get burnt out very quickly. Even Game of Thrones, which I'm like obsessed with. That's like what my TikTok's about now and everything. Even Game of Thrones, which I'm obsessed with, I had to watch over the span of like, I was watching it with my mom and she left me in the dust because she watched it in the span of like a month and I watched it in the span of like 5 months. Like I don't binge watch. I get burnt out really easy. With that being said, I started Gabon, got like 5 episodes in, and I think I just got busy with other stuff because I have not watched it in like 2 or 3 months now. And so from Gabon to whatever season is before South Pacific.
22 Redemption Island.
Those are the seasons I have not seen. I've gotten to the point I've seen every other season now. But from Gabon to Redemption Island. So there's some good seasons in there. There's Tocantins.
There's Gabon still.
Yeah, still Gabon. There's Heroes versus Villains.
No.
I haven't seen Samoa. Haven't seen Nicaragua.
Nicaragua's probably my second favorite season from that list.
So yeah, not Heroes and Villains. Everyone says Heroes versus Villains is the best. Like that is the best of the best from Survivor.
I disagree. I actually like Nicaragua more than HVV.
I haven't seen Russell Hantz play at all. Put that in perspective. I've never watched the man play.
If you want to watch Big Brother 14, you pretty much get a gist of how Russell played it. Because
was he on Big Brother too?
His brother was Willie Hantz, and he's
I know. Obviously, I know Brandon Hantz.
Well, obviously no Brandon Hantz, but Willie Hantz, he got ejected from Big Brother for headbutting a contestant. Like week 1.
It's that entire family.
The whole family.
It's the whole family. Well, that was episode 10 of Survivor Game Changers. Will, did we miss anything? You're the man with the notes this week, so I did have to ask if we missed anything.
I think that's everything. Yeah, no, it was a very straightforward episode. There's nothing much I really want to emphasize other than Sierra made the worst move of the season.
Yeah, it was, and we're gonna wait to see how the legacy advantage comes into play. Now that we didn't even touch on that. She did end up giving the legacy advantage to Sarah. Were you shocked? She even said, "I hope you didn't vote for me, but here's this." I feel like I could have pieced together what happened, and I would have been like, "Oh, she got me."
No, because
I probably would have given it to Ty.
I would have given it to Brad, honestly, but that's neither here nor there. I don't know. I feel like there was something there to their relationship that we just did not see, and And I think suddenly hearing Sarah rave about Sarah, I just think it was editing. We didn't see that relationship because it just never made sense to show it until now.
Well, I also think, sorry to cut you off. I also
good.
think Sarah, I think it would have been smarter if she didn't vote Sierra.
Yeah. Because then it could be like,
Just
oh,
throw
it
a
was
random vote.
Well, if she did like a random vote, it would not work out. But I also think Sierra understands the game side of it and is able to respect that. So maybe it could work in the opposite direction, right? Where Sarah owns the move, which makes it look that much better to Sierra. Because Sarah's able to say, hey, I just voted you out and you gave me your advantage. Like that is
I'm sure we're gonna hear about it later on in the season. Wink, wink, not
Wink,
to spoil
wink.
anything. But this was a terrific move for Sarah. And like when we talk about resume building stuff, this is what you want. And we've said how Sarah has had a pretty quiet season, but she's ramped it up the past couple of weeks. She turned on the majority alliance to take her own direction and control her own game. And then she adds this on top of it, and she's really going on a good run right now when it matters. Like a lot of times, I'm one of these people. You could say the pre-jury doesn't really matter. Make it to the merge. That's the goal. And that's when people start paying attention to your resumes is from the merge on.
Oh, yeah. I just think I personally just think resume building is kind of weak sauce. I think you can just win based off social grace alone. But what do I know? I've never been on Survivor. Not yet.
We'll have to see when you get out on Survivor one day. We'll have to see.
Oh, yeah.
Will, anything exciting planned this week before we wrap this up?
I am playing a show in 3 days. So that is fun. Shout out to Mackenzie Evans for inviting us to her birthday bash at Angels Rock Bar in Baltimore. If I get one person to go from this alone, it'll be worth it. It is 21 or over, though. So we have to sneak in our friends.
Ooh, where? Well, don't say that live.
I'll tell you the story later. It's been weird. Like we get the green light, like, hey, you can invite your friends that are under 21 to just be over 18. I'm like, cool. And then I got another text. Will, no one under 21 is allowed except for the band. I'm like, that's fair. That's understandable. Now I'm told we can bring 12. So I don't know.
Interesting.
This is all from one day, by the way.
Oh, Lord. Yeah, this is going to be a story that we got to talk about. But if you were watching, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, check out all of our content on SurvivorNowPodcast.com. Check out our Patreon. We got a couple tiers for you guys to join there. The link is in the description down below. And I got to go hear this story that Will has, but we will be back next week to cover more Survivor Game Changers.